It was a very good scrimmage today. It was good to get out there. We were fortunate. We caught a beautiful day, overcast but dry, nice and cool. So we were able to get a lot of plays in. Believe we came out of it relatively healthy. I don't think anything major. So got a lot of reps, got a lot of players to look at. So I'll be excited to wrap this up and get in and watch the film and see what stood out and who stood out. I know I'm going to be asked a bunch of questions about individual positions, but I felt like we did some really good things. I know the quarterback position everybody's excited about, and to be honest, I thought we played really well. All four guys that got some snaps today really looked effective, and were very comfortable in there and did a lot of good things. Sure, there's many things to clean up and get better, but that's why we're out here practicing. So good first scrimmage, and we'll go from there.
Josh Moore.
Mark, when you prepare this week, on paper, I know the kind of the way the weeks lay out, it's a little bit different than it would have been normally. But this would have been the week, this next week, kind of preparing for Eastern Michigan, getting that first game. How has this been different compared to maybe this time last year where you would have been, because you have that continuity, so it kind of makes up for some of the things you would have been installing, I guess. How do you maybe see how the differences between this time last year and this year?
Yeah, it is definitely different. Our internal clocks and our bodies as football coach, this time of year, you're usually just so pressed from early in the morning till late at night, 7 days a week, and practicing and wrapping up one practice, getting ready for another, game planning, and so many different things. And this year, it's slower, but that's good. It is what it is. And but it gives our players an opportunity. They had a little longer summer. They gave us some windows in the summer where we spent some time with our players, much like maybe in NFL where we treated them like OTAs and got some football work in, and then they had a break and lifted and ran again and then came back and started. But our preparation time is much longer this summer, so that's what makes it different. And, we still always come in the building with a great sense of urgency each and every day, whether you're a player or a coach. However, there is more downtime right now, and that's what's so different. What are we still 4 weeks away, Tony? Four we're still 4 weeks from the first game, so that's a long time. But I think it is good for the players because they aren't under the pressure to practice each and every day. They have some recovery days in there and some time to be a normal college student and to heal up and continue to physically develop themselves as well. But I think that's the biggest difference, just the time that we have.
If you don't mind me following up real quick on that,
Speak up.
I'm sorry. If you don't mind me following up, when you talk about, because like 3 weeks from now, you'll probably be saying these guys are tired of hitting each other. They want to get, in front of somebody else. What do you do, or what can you do to just keep it fresh for them? And because as exciting as it is to be practicing, boredom kind of sets in for all of us, at some point.
That is a great question. And normally we do things to keep it fresh and to change things up. With the COVID on top of it, it makes it difficult because we can't do a bunch of team bonding and team building exercises. And as far as getting in buses and going somewhere or trying to break things up and help them out a little bit, it's difficult. But again, I think it helps that we have a mature football team. We will do things within practice to try to freshen it up and change it up. But it's a challenge for everybody right now.
Gary Graves.
Hey, Coach, what have you seen with Terry in camp that I guess tells you the extra time off, not practicing, but just having more time to recover? How has that helped him?
I think it's just given him more confidence, just that extra time with rehabbing and training and lifting and running. to build up his legs and his body. That time has helped. The slow introduction to football, I believe, has to help. Once again, you could go back 2, 3, 4 weeks, and the time that they allowed us to spend with our players and be out there with a football and no pads on, but doing some things. That was a good introduction for him. Then he had an opportunity to go back again and develop his body, lift, rehab, come back. And with these practices right now, it's different this year because once again, we are not forced to pack so many reps and so many practices into a week. So he has time to recover in between. I believe that has to help him. But he definitely looks comfortable. I'm pleased in there today with live bullets flying all around him. And certainly he wasn't going to get hit, but you still have some big defensive linemen and blitzes and pressures and people in his face. And he looked very comfortable, both stepping up in the pocket and delivering the football, but also pulling it down and scrambling and buying time to throw the ball down the field or to pull it down and run. And I definitely tried to have a quick whistle on that because I saw him opening up and running, but I definitely want to go quick with that. And to be honest with you, I want to say he had 4 series and looked really good. And he had a couple long drives in there. And I saw enough and pulled him and put some of the other guys in there.
Larry Vaught. You're on mute, Larry.
That's because, Mark, you talk about all the differences you have right now with more time and all. What does this do to recruiting, everything that's going on now? Does it have a bigger impact on the 2021 class, what you do with the 2022 class, and how are you kind of handling that at this time of year compared to normal?
Yeah, it's much different. The face-to-face contact, obviously, is the biggest difference. Most of the 21 guys we had laid eyes on before, so we were able to evaluate them and watch them in years past. That's where the 22 sometimes will be more difficult because we missed this past spring getting out. So far in September, we're not going to be allowed to go out and watch games. So, it could have more of an effect on 22. Certainly there's players in the 22 class that we would consider no-brainers, guys that you would love to have. And there's you really don't need to evaluate them, but you need to get in front of them so they understand how important they are to us. I think our 21 class, the guys that we've been targeting, we've been recruiting them for a couple years, so they understand how important they are to us. And it is, the situation is what it is as far as not being able to get out there and watch them practice, watch them play games, watch them last spring. So, but we have a pretty good fix on the 21. Hopefully it'll continue to go well. But we have a pretty good idea who we're zeroed in on. I think it also is unfortunate for some of the 21 guys, and ultimately it could affect to 22s as well, because there's a lot of guys that are late bloomers. Certainly in this state, there are a lot of good football players that we really, wanted to watch and get in front of, whether it be at camp or whether it be last spring, and just see them and watch them because, some guys maybe aren't getting all the attention their sophomore and junior year, but they have one heck of a senior year and become, one heck of a player for us. And so, I think that's where it's unfortunate. I know there's, we're trying the best we can to keep our eyes on the diamonds in the rough in the 21 class.
Thanks.
John Clay.
Mark, I know staff continuity is important, but you do have some new coaches this year. Is it important to get new voices for the players to hear, and how's that going with the new coaches so far?
I do think it's important sometimes. You're right, John. I think there's a fine line there. I certainly love the continuity that we have in big picture with our coordinators and with core guys around them. I really have a lot of trust in those guys. And, what Eddie's done. He's done a remarkable job for us. It's no coincidence since he has arrived. We've gone to 4 straight bowl games and won our last 2. And Eddie has a lot to do with that. And then Brad, I've been so pleased with him, the job that he did a year ago with replacing all of that talent and continue to stay ahead and push. I have great confidence. And then we have guys on both sides of the balls, both sides of the ball that are prepared to be coordinators. So, that's a good thing. We have a lot of experience in when you look at John Summerall and you look at Steve Clinkscale, and, those guys are ready to be coordinators. And then, you bring in Anwar, who has unbelievable energy. And then Frank, Coach Buffano has been with me since my Arizona days and knows how I speak, how I talk, what I expect of that position group. So it's good. It's a good blend. Same offensively. The core guys are there. You got Eddie, of course. Coach Henshaw has been with me from the start and has done a remarkable job with those quarterbacks. And, what can you say about John Schlarman? John is still, doesn't get enough credit for the job he does on the field and with that offensive line. And then bringing in Coach Bo has been a nice change up for us. He's done a really good job and really just doing a heck of a job. And it is to have a fresh voice in there. And of course, you got the big dog, leading the charge with recruiting and such an important figure on our staff as far as, his relationship with players and helping me with discipline and relating to guys, and of course, recruiting and coaching the tight ends. So we're blessed. We have a very good staff, and, I really appreciate those guys. I don't know, did I miss anybody? I feel bad if I missed anybody at this point. I don't think I did.
Derek,
Mark, with the NCAA passing the extra year of eligibility for all fall sport athletes, we've had a couple seniors, Terry, Max, already said that they wouldn't be using that extra year. But I was just curious how you were approaching that with those seniors, if those are conversations you would have now, or if those are things that would just wait until after the season.
I really did. Got an echo there. Sorry. I really have not had one conversation with any senior about that. I've been asked that before, and whether it's going to be an issue or not. And, I think most of the time by those guys, by the time they're a senior, whether they've been here 4 years or 5 years, they're ready to move on. They're either going to be good enough to play in the NFL or have an opportunity in the NFL or earn their degree, because we do a great job of preparing our guys for life after football. And, I would think a lot of them will be ready to move on to the next phase of their life. However, if there are guys that want to come back, I would welcome them with open arms, because there's a lot of good football players and a lot of good human beings in that class.
Jeff Drummond.
Hey, Mark, just kind of curious, after having the pads on a little bit, what you've seen kind of from the running game so far, and some of those battles up front, with the O-line and D-line.
Once again, impressed. Impressed with the way we're playing and moving people. However, there were some good battles today, because I was impressed with in particular, our starting defensive line. Those guys are pretty stout and have done some really good things. So it was probably, just from me watching it without going in and watching this film yet, I was impressed with both sides. I thought there was some really good blocking and some good running by the running backs. Defensively, I thought we did some good things. I'm a little more concerned with down the line defensively, because maybe some of the twos, they did rip off some big runs that we got to get cleaned up and got to get fixed. So there were some explosive runs in there. I don't think there was too many against the number one defense. Maybe a few good runs, but nothing extra long that I could recall here.
John Long.
Hey, Mark, I appreciate you speaking out on a lot of these issues. It seems like there's a lot going on this year off the field. And one of the issues that I think is important, I haven't heard you speak about, is the mental health of your players. A lot of reports coming out that young adults ages 18 to 24, the rates of depression, anxiety, skyrocketing, a lot of excess drug, alcohol use, thoughts of suicide. So How much of a concern is that to you? And what is the university? What is the program? What are you doing as a head coach to make sure that the mental health of your players are protected and properly addressed?
I think that's a great point. But we are constantly 24/7 counseling and monitoring and spending time with our players. So that doesn't mean, that we know exactly what's going on in every young man's head or in their life. But I could promise you, we talk to them often. And part of our leadership development program is we spend a lot of time with our players talking about things other than football. So, with that being said, hopefully during those conversations and us investing in them outside of football, we'll have a good feel and know whether there are problems going on. Once again, we're no mind readers and we're not perfect, but we do invest a lot of time. And we have a lot of people in our organization that spend time with these young men.
Keith Taylor.
Hey, Coach, I was wondering at this point in the preseason, is the offense along further or the defense between those two sides of the ball?
That's always going to go back and forth. It's going to go back and forth. I need to get in there and really study this film right now and take a good look at it. But, again, you've heard me say this before, but it's so true. I'm looking for quality football, not one side having success because the other side missed an assignment or inept and do something wrong and just give it to them. I'd rather see competitive plays on each side, and that's what we're looking for. We're looking for good, clean football. And, defensively, that's their alignment and assignment and getting lined up right, having the proper assignment, fundamentally playing the game the way you want to see it played, making clean tackles and making the offense earn their yards. You hate to see them give up explosives because we use poor technique or somebody not doing what they're supposed to do and vice versa. So, I don't think we were perfect in that area today, but overall, in general, I was pleased. Sometimes early on in camp, it's very sloppy. I saw some sloppy plays, but I also saw us regroup and get things together and fundamentally play the game the way it's supposed to be played.
We got just a couple more and then we're gonna wrap up. Chandler.
Hey, Mark, I was wondering, I know you haven't studied the film yet, but have there been any freshmen that maybe stood out to you that got some good reps in today?
I'm trying to be hesitant on just jumping out at any one guy or anything because they all have work to do. But I'm also impressed. Again, as a unit, as a group, they're impressive. They're doing some good things, and it's hard to point out any one guy. To be totally honest with you, was that Ernest that made the long catch? Yeah, Ernest came down. Bo, was getting hit right in the chin and delivered a 40 or 50-yard, bomb that Ernest went up and made a great catch, a contested catch for a touchdown. And, that was impressive to see. Vito has done some really good things throughout camp. Jatan has done some really good things through camp, but all of them really have. Like I mentioned, all the defensive linemen I'm impressed with. They just got to continue to work, and they're battling against a good offensive line. But, fundamentally, they're plenty athletic and they're big and they're strong. Just got to continue to fundamentally get better. But, so they're an impressive group.
All right, Josh and then Jeremy will close it up here. Josh.
Mark, how much are you guys monitoring the stuff that's happening at Auburn recently and just around the country? I mean, I know it's still a ways out before that game actually happens, but, just how does it concern you much at all, or do you just kind of take it as you can?
I don't spend any time really monitoring what's going on there. I really don't. That's not to say that you don't read any media coverage at all or anything. Certainly you see things or hear things within the office, but, it's not my concern because I can't control that. certainly I hope that we all are staying as safe as possible and keeping things under control, because you always worry about that. You feel like if it gets out of control at any other place, it can affect you and it can affect us and our players. So, for us, our focus is on keeping ourselves as safe as possible and doing the things that we can do that controls our environment. And once again, we're far from perfect, but I think our guys are doing a really good job. And for us right now, we have it, under as under control as you can, statistically. So we're doing as good as we can, and I'm glad our players are doing that.
Mark, I thought Anwar was very engaged with the players, the defensive line in particular, when he was here in a different role a few seasons ago. Can you talk more about that energy? What are you seeing from the players? Have you seen a noticeable jump with the defensive line in terms of just their play?
Yeah, I agree with you. That was one of the things that I really loved, having Anwar around when he came back and finished up and then was working with us. And I knew he had a bright future as a coach because he's passionate about it. You've heard me talk about this before, and it's true. It's great to have the great energy, and he certainly has that. But he also has a great desire to be a great defensive line coach, and that is one position. That in the offensive line, I mean, you better have a strong technique coach and a guy that's fundamentally teaching them the right things. That's many times where the game's won and lost, and that's something. I've been a secondary coach and a coordinator my whole life, but I am passionate about fundamentals of defensive line play, and that's one thing about Anwar. Yes, he has high energy and he pushes those guys and keeps them accountable, but he's also working extremely hard to be fundamentally one of the best guys out there in the country. So proud of the work that he's doing.
All right. Appreciate it.
Thank you.